Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome to my altar room. And this is going to be another monthly wrap-up installment. I started these as probably the last 2 months. This is notable things that happened in the months. This is in this case, June of 2026. These are different decks I worked with, the themes, the song. I work with that as music is part of my magical practice. As is, it's my life. I love music for so many reasons and layers, but I layer it into my practice and use it as themes and inspiration of what I'm doing as my path working as a left-hand practitioner, a spiritual being, and most of all, a woman in this life and experience and body, and all of the above and in between. And it goes to the liminal. And it goes to sometimes the deities that or spirits or entities that want to work with me and step forth to help me in the current path work that I'm doing and the integration and the empowerment. So this month's theme, theme song, the song I picked that stepped forth for me, what is and has been, because we're at the end of the month, is Going Under by Evanescence. I love Amy Lee. Her voice and her opera background and her vocal range, her aesthetic. She's a beautiful woman. She has so much energy to her and presence. So therefore that is part of it. Of course, I've loved Evanescence since they've come out. I even like some of their newer music. So it's one of those things that continues to evolve, as everything should continue to evolve and not digress, as has that band. So Going Under is, of course, a beautiful song. I love the lyrics, the meaning of them, the feel. It's a perfect marriage of the background of like I said, the vocals, the lyrics, the music itself is all complementary. So if you watch any of my previous videos, I actually work very much with underworld energies and very much cyclical death energies, such as Hecate and Hades, for example, which I've mentioned many times before. So therefore, the going under has to do with, of course, I walk in the underworld quite often and the energies, but it helps me to understand, to learn the lessons, and what needs to be released, what I need to face and integrate, which is still many things I have not really done, but I do my best as I can. And therefore, that's how one wins in their life, is showing up for themselves, not doing what others think or others think is right. It's what's right for yourself, your human life experience, your path working, your spiritual practice, whatever that might look like, or your magical practice, or in my case, they're all interwoven and one and the same. They're not separate. So, with that being said, I've been walking with Hecate really steps forth for me this month, and I believe she's going to continue to into July. I worked a lot this year for a period of time with Hades, as that's always continued in. He's one of my main big three deities I work with. Such a lovely masculine and embodiment perspective, wisdom, guide, teacher, protector, and one who does an embodiment of what masculine energy should be and presence and working together. Now, Hecate, of course, is from the same Greek pantheon. So she stepped forth to me many years before. She was the first one that officially stepped forth to me about I'm going to say probably about 13 or 15 years ago, evidently. So we have our different times. She's always there with me and in the background, sometimes more prevalent like this. So this is the first time I've been working with her so prevalently. So, of course, the song's appropriate. She's helping me to work with the divine dark feminine, the integration of my experiences, my shadow, not shunning them, but embracing them and bringing them as they come to the surface to process them, what is effective and helps to empower me, helps me to be me. So this month, without further ado, now that you know the song and the theme, I'm going to show you some things. Meaning my decks, mention a couple experiences, etc. My videos are a little bit rambly. They're just me. So, yes. So you might want to get yourself a beverage. So I actually am going to start off with the statues I used. In this case, since she is she's my patroness, that I actually I used statues. I have three statues for her. Two smaller ones and a slightly bigger one. The bigger one's on my altar. These two smaller ones are two, but these are small, compact, so I can bring them into my living room and use them in my daily draws, my daily rituals, because I bring in the card reading and guidance, a connection with deities, in this case Hecate, and my guides this month. And before I go to work, I get up early to make sure I have that time to give myself grace and work my rituals. It fulfills me and is a foundational for my day. Rituals can look big, small, or just those things you do consistently with discipline. So the statues, this is, and I probably pronounced the pronunciation wrong, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. The deities and entities know it's how you approach with respect. So this is my Hecate Analia statue. You can see she's got, if you look at this was created by Jeff Cullen. I got this several years ago. This is an amazing little statue. It's about the size of, just smaller than my hand, if you can see. Of course, you can see that serpent energy. We all know, if you watch any of my previous videos for a hot minute, that I work with that type of energy. One of my familiars, we'll just put it that way, that's one of his forms. Also, it is the embodiment of the female and the overall energy that we all house and hold within ourselves and body, of the Kundalini energy, and of the birth, life, death, rebirth, and cyclical and shedding energies. And the interwoven, I like the Ouroboros of the snake. So that's in this. You can see she is, Hecate Analia is the one of the tides, the sea. So you can look that up. One of my favorites. This is my recent acquisition in the past couple months. Look at this. Now, Hecate is also the torchbearer. That's one of her many epithets. And basically, you can see the torch. You can see the hounds. It is dogs. Are also, besides the serpent, one of her basically associations of animals and guides, and those that howled in the deep dark night, because Hecate is also fearsome. So yes. So this is beautiful. Plus, we all know I love black. Black is my favorite color, along with red, hence the background. So next is, I just want to bring up here, is I'm reading this book currently as an offering to Hecate to embody more magic, learn and expand my path, especially her in the darker aspects that having to do with basically more of a Luciferian path and embodiment, and bringing that wisdom in the different forms of magic and integration. As my path evolves, so shall it with hers. But reading and learning and taking a different perspective is definitely one of the many, many ways you can respectively build a relationship. That's what my practice is with my deities, but and entities and what I work with, besides other people, that is. But this is one of my current offerings, is to learn about her and be present. I read slowly because I go use Audible with it, because I'm losing my eyesight, as I mentioned in previous videos. So you work and you empower yourself in many ways that you can. So let's see where this is going forward. We're almost 10 minutes in, so not too bad. Let's get to the decks. So the decks for walking and working with Hecate have guided, plus my practice of using decks that I may have not used prevalently or as frequently. I want to get familiar in my collection and build a relationship and understanding with, and actually use what I have. Plus I keep acquiring more. It's the way it is. I love my collection and its ever expanding and evolution, and how it contributes to the various facets of my practice and my daily thing as a woman. So it's all, and that's what my decks have to be. So one of the main decks I use, I'm going to start off with tarot first as we move along. These are actually, other than The oracles are actually mass market, but I'm going to start off with the tarot. The tarot are all indie. So the main one that stepped forth with me for working with Hecate, this is a very underworld Hecate type of divine feminine presenting deck. These were all done, the creatrix, they painted them all. So there's so much voice, value, and artistic presence. You can really feel the magic in this. It presents, and I love the colors, and I get so many intuitive hits out of this. So this deck has made many presentments and shown up and done various collective readings throughout the years since I've had her. Plus, there's also a little review video on it. It's the Pisonic Tarot. You can look that up on my channel if you feel inclined. So again, look at this beautiful backing. So this is made, this is one of the main ones that's been prevalent that I wanted to, and it has been. I actually used her today, this morning, not too long ago, for my daily draw. My guidance of what I need to know, to be mindful, aware of. Energy is just guidance for the day. Now, I use my cards more of an energetic guidance and connection and empowerment. Things change from moment to moment throughout the day, but it's things to consider, things to look out for, maybe blind spots. Also, how deities connect and channel through me and through the cards. They are a conduit also for that. So there are many tools. This deck, I built a more of an understanding with this month. So she's a rather expensive indie deck, or fairly on the upper end of the spectrum, but not as expensive as others per se. She is definitely worth her value. Now, if I had to go out of my ranking system, up to 10 being the highest, nothing to 10 because nothing's perfect. Nothing can be perfect. It can be damn near close, but nothing can be perfect. So this for me, because of out of the use I've had, the more relationship I've had, how many years I wanted it before I got, well, how long I wanted it before I got it, and it is come to be what I've desired. It connects with my patroness. It's the value I get from it, the intuitive hits. Each time I pick it up, the guidebook, I like the guidebook and its various perspectives on the cards, the messages, and the associations. So again, you can see this deck. And why I like it and why it speaks to the underworld and Hecate and going under. So that's the Pisonic Tarot. So to move forward on it, my only complaint with this deck is the tuck box. Yeah, it's falling apart, even though I don't use this deck as prevalently. So yes. So that's one of the ones I didn't use as often or as much and I build a relationship with. So that goal is partially met. Now another one on here that steps forth before I go to one that I really started using and building a relationship that I wanted to and mentioned that I didn't really connect with right away in last month, but I'm going to show this one. This is the Witch's Tarot by Burning Paper Hearts, Chris Madsen. This is also a female presenting deck, Divine Feminine. There is a few images, which is of the creator in this deck. This is an indie deck. She's got extra cards, so she's larger, of deities and energies. Now, this is a beautiful look at that matte edging. Now, mine's an appeal because I use this deck fairly often. This has made many presentments in the past on my channel for collective readings. This one would also be out of that one being a 9 for the box and other reasons. This one's a 9.5 because I've built such a relationship with and has further built that. Hecate steps forth in this. Lilith does too at points. It's a very witch's deck, of course. It is very liminal, underworld, fate meets that theme, the needs, and evokes and invokes what I wanted to for the month in my past working. It's to embrace me, my autonomy, my voice, my presence, my individuality as a woman, an ever-changing world, and because I am the Lady Strange, but again, most of us, I'm not a shape, so I don't fit in with all those others, and including in the workplace, but I'm learning to present and embrace my differences and they're part of my magic and presence. So I pulled a few of these and got these together so I can show you, because YouTube has that thing about nudity, even if it's artistic nudity. So you get the idea. There is things out there of this deck, but just because. If you don't have it, the cardstock is lovely. It's a perfect, it's very sturdy. She comes in a magnetic glass box. I actually keep it in a bag that my mother-in-law made me when she was alive. It's liminal. It's everything that you can feel in witchcraft, that which connects beyond the veil, how you can be a creator of your own life, that which is hidden, dark, that which is unique, autonomous, gives strength, wisdom, presence. She has her own voice, so she's manipulated photography deck, but she does not have a specific, like the Soul System or the RWS. I rather like that, or like that. So you can see, like, the creator is here. So much to the card, so much that it speaks to my favorite chariot ever. Light as a feather, stiff as a board, if you ever played that game. So, what levitates you and drives you? I worked with the goddess Hel a couple years ago for brief periods of time. So I'm sure she'll step forth again at some point. But as you can see, there's one of the deity cards right there. As is Hecate. See? The Hecate card. So this deck speaks to me in so many ways. I love the different colors that are in there that are added as an extra layer and color keys to the deck. She's dark, she's moody, she's of the tides, she's of the moon. She's has very much mood energy, very much the elements you can see in there. Look at that. I mean, that's one of my favorite. 9 of Coins or Pentacles. So yes, The Witch's Tarot by Chris Madsen fits the theme, stepped forth on its own, and obviously for good reason. Here's the Diane bag I call it. That was my mother-in-law's name. That's since she passed away last year, but that's one of the things she made me. Many of my favorite decks are in there. Try not to make this too long for y'all. This is mainly a video diary for myself. So, last tarot deck, and I keep put it in there because it's in a tuck box. Tanya doesn't like tuck boxes much, so yeah. So I try to find for my more sacred, more used decks where the box isn't, or what I want it to be. I bought this box for it. A lovely box. I got at Sticks and Stones in Waterville, New York, where I get many and most of my crystals that have made appearances on this channel. That's where I get them from my collection. So, this is the Serpentine Tarot by Rose Bay. If you're in a tarot community or you're a collector, you know about Rose Bay. Her decks, I have the Lacrimosa, which I'm having a hard time connect with, but I'm not getting rid of. I do value that. I love, 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 and it's made many appearances on this channel in the collective readings. I do love these Blue Bones Oracle deck. She's my Moody Blues deck because she's very ephemeral, she's blue, she's of the tides, she's very watery, very subconscious, very much across the threshold. I did want to use it more this month. It just didn't seem to step forth as much or resonate. That's perfectly fine. Things change. And things evolve and step forth and back when they need to. But this is the Serpentine Tarot. So I got this last month. I mentioned this, that I wanted to and I wasn't connected with it, mainly because of my eyesight. Well, it stepped forth big time along with the Witch's Tarot and the Pythonic. Obviously, serpents. Enough said. There's nudity in this deck. YouTube probably won't like it. Whatever. I'm only going to show a few because there is videos out there on this. I got a very small channel anyways, so yeah. And of course, it's more of statuesque nudity versus human life like the Witch's Tarot. So yeah, whatever. So we know what I can say about YouTube and the logarithm and all that stuff in the world itself. This deck connects to me with the energies of the serpent, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. This is complementary. It's very Hecatean energy. There's a lot of Greek imagery in it, and a lot of her is upside down. Of course, sorry about that. That's how you know read with the deck. I don't read reversals, but that's how you know you use a deck in some ways too. And connect. I love the colors that are in here. The more I spend time with it and have spent time with it and has interacted with these main decks, it was. This you can get on Game Crafters. This is a beautiful indie deck. Again, it's got a very Greek pantheon feel. So, a very Hecatean, very Garden of Eden with the serpent. Samael, in my opinion. The serpent was Samael in the garden, one who enlightened and awakened Eve and took off the blinders. But we know I'm a left-hand pather. I've embraced that and moved away from Christianity a good number of years ago, and still, as many are, recovering from that and releasing the binds and the constructs. Even though we're often faced with that, especially here in the U.S. and other parts of the world, and in our personal lives, like I am. But we're not going to get into that. So again, I love the black backing, the slick wet backing. She definitely connected with the year, in the year of the snake last year. You can feel that she, as like I mentioned, she connected with the energies, therefore it shows, it expresses, and it's a true embodiment versus a called-in deck. So this deck will never leave my collection, as well, neither so the others. So this tarot, I definitely given for the only thing I wish it was bigger, much like these blue bones. And also for maybe so I could see the details better. So instead of a 9.5, I would give this one more of a 9. But that might change as do the others. But I will never get rid of this. And I only continue to look to see how the different ways it's going to present into my practice and interact. And lastly, we have the oracles. Oracles of step forth or present. This one's on my channel. It's again mass produced. You can find a couple videos ago. You can see where I did a review or impressions of it. It's got deities in it, past working, dark moon, obviously. Yes, Hecate. But I work with this not just for the dark new moon phase, which is my most prevalent in my past working and experience and how I work my magic, is the dark moon phase and the new moon. And right around that, the liminal threshold. But this, she's a small circular deck, much like the Archetypes Oracle that's out there, which I do on the regular larger size of that. But there is this. It's got a keyword on it. The guidebook's pretty good for the most part. I do use it for some of the questions, but primarily keywords. It's a darker inclined deck. I'm going to do my best not to make sure this is upside down, just so you get an idea. The background is this. There's definitely like the Morgan in here. There's Nyx in here. There's different stages. They're broken down to different stages and groupings. It's kind of a shadow deck, a healing deck, a divine dark feminine deck first and foremost. But it helps to work with those liminal energies and the different facets. Especially this is a very deck for connecting with emotions and emotional intelligence, understanding, and dealing with them and letting them be and flowing with them. Emotions should not be suppressed, but they should be acknowledged and worked through, and sometimes seeing why they are a certain way and how we can actually work with them and through them. They are, after all, us and part of us in our experiences. So you get the idea. You can look back a little bit more at the other video if you're interested. Comes in a great box. Last deck, I've used many others, but these are the prevalent ones. This is the Hecatean Oracle. This is mass produced. You can get it on Amazon like I did. I got it right after it came out, so I've had it for a bit. I have used it. She is an altar deck, so you put it in my altar because I have a big drawer in my altar. And yes, I love the keywords. It shows the epithets of Hecate at the top, as you can see. The images, that could be definitely different, but many of them do resonate and do apply. It's more the keywords and epithets I work with. The guidebook is fabulous. It's got a paragraph. It is a Lo Scarabeo deck, so the guidebook comes in multiple languages, but it's enough. And it's enough to learn a little bit about the epithet, and a great guide and a clarifier. It works well with the tarot. It works well on its own. I often put it up as a one card pull and put it on when I'm working from home, I put it on it's right near me. My altar's next to me when I work from home. I put it on there as a connection piece and energy, what to be mindful of, the aestheticism of. This guides, this teaches, this actually brings things up to the surface that I need to acknowledge, just as Hecate herself does. My personal psyche, my personal underworld, my dreams, my fears, my liminal, the different stages I'm in my life with my health and my transitions. But how I can learn and move through those things, these different stages and days and relationships called life. And again, I apologize if any of these are upside down. So, images could be better in this deck, but the box and rest is. So I would give, because of the imagery, and could have been different, I would give, but I do like this. I still give this an 8.5. So it doesn't be quite a 9 yet because the imagery, but the rest of it does definitely give it an 8.5 to a 9. So this one's more of a range deck. See? We all notice a theme. I think that's step 4th in there. So those are a few cards from that. Okay, and so put that back before I mess up my cards like I always do. So my month of June, pretty good. I've had a lot of fortunate experiences. My husband and I got to go to our favorite antique shops and different things and roam around. I was fortunate enough to find great finds, which I have to redo, re-clean, and rearrange my altar once again in the very near future because I found some beautiful pieces for it and for this altar room. So some things will be a bit arranged and put in order and changed out very soon, as my practice constantly does and evolves. But also just to what works beneficial and being resourceful. I found a beautiful table that I'm going to probably switch out one here in my altar room. Oh my God, it's fucking gorgeous. It's small. It's like a stool size, but it's tall. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. If you ever learn to edit my videos or want to feel inclined to, maybe I'll show it. Or do another video with the altar, maybe. I don't know how I feel about that anymore. And showing. I also got some beautiful altar pieces and seeing how I'm going to place those in. Of course, one of the items is a beautiful black glass urn. So yes, quite defined. So I also found things like, for example, this. Let me see, find it. I've been drawn to I worked with the Egyptian Pantheon a bit in connection last month, if you want to check that video out. That's my last one. But I found this beautiful, beautiful lapis. I've been called to work with lapis and never really worked with lapis and have it really, honestly, not much in my collection. This is not only aesthetically beautiful, the energy. Oh my, I've been working with this since I got this in the past couple weeks. I bring it to work with me. I use it at home when working from home. I've meditated with it. I've used it to reframe myself when my energy started getting scattered, unfocused. And I needed a bit of wisdom and restructure in the moment I was in and taking a breath. Lapis just feels so much between the parts from the past, way distant past, but being relevant into the present. She feels like very much a high priestess stone. She who sits and observes that you connect with, that doesn't need to shout, but is inherently has a lot to teach, a lot to bring into balance, and a lot of magic and just being. So this is the lovely lapis I got. Lastly, since I did have a good month, I did get a small little move up and promotion at my job. Nothing major, but an acknowledgement for all the hard damn work I put into it and being in customer service. So a small, slight pay increase, which helps in this world. It'll go to something else, as it always does. But it's recognition. It's going to get me different things to learn and expand in. So that's going to help. I'm going to learn new things and be able to do new things. So that's what we should do as part of the evolution process. I got to also, besides going to antique stores, got to spend some time with my husband. As I love to, we have a great relationship. And got to enjoy this warmer weather that luckily it's happened. And I got to see my good friends in Syracuse. We got to go to dinner together again. We had a great time. Hours full of sitting at a restaurant that we like called Tully's for a couple hours, just sitting, hanging out, laughing. They're big horror movie fans like my husband and I. That's how we met at a convention years ago. They like rock and metal like we do. So, and it's just good friends that despite no matter how hard their lives are, they still make time for us just as we make time for them. They're not fair weather friends. Yes, I can be a fair weather friend. I will be the first to admit things and be accountable for myself. That's what one must do. That's the best way to be a good person. But I also recognize that sometimes people don't reciprocate as much, or many people don't reciprocate as much. So you got to start always, as I have, and continue to do so, evaluate what actually is working, what is prevalent, what is a fair and equitable exchange, whether it's friendship, time, energy, etc. So yeah, and maybe where I'm falling short and can be a better and less fair weather friend myself. It goes both ways. It should be a two-way street, and one should honestly, if you can't keep to your word, maybe, or keep to that, maybe you should reevaluate. Because, yeah, there's always other factors and extenuating factors, and there's always consequences for actions or inactions. I find that often in my life since I'm a big procrastinator. Hey, I'm just truthful here. So this is my month of June. a fairly pretty good June month. I've learned a lot. I've already been facing some fears, being more honest, and embracing my magic. So, with that being said, thanks for watching this rather long video. I appreciate if you're still here. Please like, comment, subscribe, as that helps my channel to grow and be shown to others in an unforgiving algorithm world of YouTube. And stay strange.